Well, students, we're going to keep working on your tree collage today. A couple things I would like you to do. If you still need to trace out any marker, I would like you to trace that out, including your bark, any of these zigzag lines that are down here. Then, if you have a black paper, you will need to finish tracing any of the marker, but you will need to trace the white pencil as well. So remember that any background that you have, please take your white pencil and I would like you to trace that in so you can see all your background stuff, your horizon line, your zigzag lines, all of that stuff. Now, when you're done with that, please don't forget, if you didn't put the lines on your leaves, do that too. When you're finished with that, I would like you to make your bark two colors. So I would find a lighter color. This one works pretty well, any of these lighter golden colors. And then I'm gonna trace one side of it with the lighter color, and then I'm gonna trace the other side with a darker color. So here, got that done. Always put that back in the box. Then I'm gonna take this darker brown and I'll trace the other side. So each line becomes two colors. Please remember that your job is not to color the whole tree. When that's done, then you should start working on your background. I find it the easiest to color the background details first. So like if I want to do this flower, I would color this in, and then I'm gonna pick a color here for the leaves. We'll take this flower, we'll color that in. I'm gonna make it a yellow flower with a purple center on it. So if you get these things done, like the shapes and the details, then you can color the shade the grass and around it. So here, this would count as a detail, and then this would count too, and this. But I'm just gonna do half of mine just so this example goes a little bit more quickly. So we'll pretend that I did this side also, okay? So this is the one side I'm gonna color. With this, once I have all of the background details done, when I'm shading it, you can see that I've kind of organized the colors from, I'm gonna move these ones over. I've organized them from the darkest to the lightest. So these greens go from the darkest one kind of to the lightest one. And you don't have to use all of them, but I would like you to use at least 3 or 4 of them. So I think that I'm gonna go with these 4, and I'm gonna do this first. I'm gonna go around the grass, I'm gonna go around the flowers, and then I'm gonna use kind of a zigzag line like this, and I'm gonna go up and down. I would do that over on that side. We're just pretending that I'm coloring that side. And I would go up and down, and you're gonna be sharing these colors, so you wanna make sure that you're keeping them in the middle for everybody. Then I would use my next one. I would go up and down, go around this flower, and I'm trying to fill in any of the pink paper. Once I go up and down with a zigzag line, getting that a little bit closer, then I would go to my next one. I would go up and down. And so this is an example of shading, which is coloring dark to light. And shading can also be done the opposite way. I could go light to dark too. Once I have that one, then I'll do this one. Now that I've used all of them, I'm just gonna kind of repeat it like a pattern. And this works much better for shading to go up and down than it would to go like side to side. So now I'm gonna go back to the one I started with. I'm gonna go up and down and continue to zigzag it around, even around this little lake in this pond here. Once I have that, one done, I just repeat it until I get all the way up to my horizon line. Now, you can see that I'm being careful not to color on my tree. I'm not coloring on my leaves. I'm going around those details. So if you have one that's kind of falling off the tree, you want to make sure that you're coloring around that. But you can see that this creates kind of a cool effect. Kind of gives a little bit of movement to the grass. Which I think is kind of fun to do. And you just continue repeating it until you get to the top. Now, I always like to make my horizon line just a little bit darker. So here, since I have not used, one of the reasons too that I didn't use all of these greens is because on this horizon line, I think I'm gonna use the two darkest greens. So I'm gonna trace this and we'll go up and down here going around this leaf. For this horizon line, I'm gonna go with the very darkest of my greens and I'm gonna trace that in, but then I am still gonna do my zigzag up and down to fill that in, okay? Now let me switch over to this one. This is probably the only other time that I would go like a different direction where I would trace this just so I can fill that in without going above my horizon line and having it get messy. So I want to stay kind of inside that line. Now this one, let's switch over to this. This one has more colored on it. And here you can see that I've started to do the water too. So you can do shading in the water as well, where I am taking this and maybe doing a little bit of this sky blue. Maybe I'll use a little bit of this turquoise blue and do shading on the water as well, which I think is a good thing to try. Maybe I'm gonna add a little bit of this blue. And sometimes when water crashes, it does a good job of like creating a little bit of white where the water is like crashing or splashing. So I might do that with my waves. In the sky, a couple little things to do would be to trace your wind. So I might do some of this here. You can make your wind whatever color you want. And I'm gonna do a little bit of this lighter blue next to that. The zigzag lines that are down here at the bottom, I would give those a little bit of color too. So you can see that I've already used kind of a darker green and a lime green for that. And then if you did have extra time, instead of just like doing 2 colors for your bark, maybe I'm gonna make this 3 colors. So if there is extra time, instead of saying that you're done, you can always come back and just add a little bit of extra color or detail to the bark. I could do a mix of like 2 different pinks or something for my flower. So you can just kind of check and see where there are any spots that could be mixed or blended or adding extra color to it. This one does not have any detail or lines in the clouds. Many of you did this. So like if it does have a little bit of detail in your clouds, sometimes I'll take it and just add a little bit of like light blue to the bottom. I would not color the whole cloud, but if you just trace the marker line, just like I traced the wind, that can give that just a little bit of texture, make it look like it's kind of popping out just a little bit. So I would just trace the bottom and trace that line, but not color the whole cloud. So hopefully we can get these finished up today and they should look great. Let's have fun.